So if you're thinking about moving to Houston and you want to find something that's close to downtown, potentially close to the medical center, I think you should check out East Downtown. That's where we are right now, walking around in this neighborhood just east of downtown proper. So EaDo is a rapidly growing neighborhood in Houston. It's definitely worth checking out if you're looking for slightly more affordable city life. First, I'd like to start out and show you where East Downtown is on the map. So East Downtown, or EaDo, is the small triangle portion of the East End, bound by 59, 45, and the railroad tracks. It's important to make a distinction between EaDo and the East End. While EaDo is the small portion that's closest to downtown, the area as you go further east, even as far east as like Wayside, is considered the East End, or Magnolia Park can sometimes be considered the East End as well. The location is fantastic. EaDo is close to all the major Houston highways, downtown, the medical center, and the ship channel. It's a super walkable area with tons of bars and restaurants. It also has a metro rail stop. Historically, back in the 1930s, when immigrants first moved to the area, it was known as Chinatown, and then growth and development continued through the 80s when many people moved down to Southwest Houston, closer to Bel Air, where Chinatown is known today. So this is an eclectic area with warehouses, street art, and redevelopment. It's quickly becoming a really great destination for nightlife and restaurants. The warehouses are common. There's lots of bars, restaurants, co-work spaces, and retail in the old warehouses. East Downtown is also a prime location in two sports venues, like where the Astros play, the Toyota Center. As far as architecture, the neighborhood has kind of two distinct styles of homes: older bungalow-style homes, and then 2-, 3-, and 4-story townhome-style homes. A lot of the homes also have rooftop decks due to the close proximity to downtown. So I just finished a workout and I'm going to grab a little bit of caffeine, but there's a lot of great things about EaDo. So I want to talk about some of the things I love. First is all of the stuff to do. EaDo has a variety of amenities, including trails, restaurants, bars, shops. As I said before, there's a ton of development, so there's a lot to do. If you're interested in outdoor activities or fitness, there are a ton of fitness studios down here in East Downtown. Whether you're looking for a more traditional gym or like a boxing class, cross-training class, or group fitness, there are a ton of different studios around the area with stuff popping up all the time. You also have the hike and bike trail, which runs all the way from East Downtown all the way to the medical center. The bike path on Polk will also take you directly into downtown. And if fitness isn't your thing, there are a ton of bars and there are a ton of restaurants in EaDo as well. These have popped up over the past few years, where EaDo used to be a little bit of a food desert. When I moved here in 2015, there wasn't a ton to do, but there are a lot of different restaurants and great entertainment options, food options, stuff like that. There are good bars and restaurants off of San Emmanuel, Leland Street, and things like that. So second, the active community. EaDo has a very active community. There are always events and activities going on. It's a great place to meet new people. As I said, there are a ton of bars and restaurants, so you're often going to see different organizations doing bar crawls or pub crawls, since there are a lot of bars in an easily walkable location and close proximity to each other. That's also one great thing about living in the area. You're able to walk to bars and restaurants for a fun night out, and you don't have to deal with parking and driving or finding an Uber. A lot of the bars have large patios or live music, like Truckyard and Eighth Wonder, East End Backyard around the corner. Sunset Houston has a rooftop patio that overlooks downtown. Another thing that I love about EaDo are the breweries. You've got Eighth Wonder Brewery and Distillery here in East Downtown, as well as equal parts True and Amelie, Frosttown, and St. Arnold, not too far away. With so many options to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect spot to enjoy hanging out with friends and drinking some craft brews. Third, it's more of an up-and-coming neighborhood, so there are new businesses and restaurants opening all the time, and the area is constantly growing. Over the past few years, we've seen a ton of development in the East Village area over here, right where I am right now, and there are a ton of businesses that are opening up in East River, which is the former KBR site being developed by Midway. It's a 150-acre mixed-use development. The project's going to have residential, commercial, and retail space. Apartment communities have opened up over there, but there's also going to be a new park and a light rail station as well for the metro. We've also seen the former Houston Post building over on Emancipation be redone with the CVS on the first floor, and there are spaces available for lease on the second and third floors of that building. Outside of the larger commercial projects, many of the old warehouses have been redeveloped into residential and commercial space for businesses. Fourth is the great location. So EaDo is located in the heart of Houston. We're close to downtown, the medical center, the museum district. You have quick and easy access to 45 and 59, as well as I-10 and the Hardy Toll Road. Being on this side of town, 288 is also not too far away either. You also, if you need to get south down towards Pearland, you would use 288. And generally, when you live in EaDo, you are reverse commuting if you are headed to the Woodlands or somewhere else outside of the loop for work. Also, if you work downtown, you can take Polk and get downtown pretty quickly, whether that's by car or bike or perhaps public transportation. You also are able to walk to see professional sports teams like the Dynamo and Dash, the Rockets and Astros. And I think the skyline views from EaDo are the best skyline views here in Houston. Fifth is affordable housing. When you compare EaDo to places like the Heights or Washington Avenue, it is a very affordable neighborhood where you can generally get more for your money than you can in other areas. You can also find apartments and homes for rent as well. While most of the development has been west of downtown in areas like the Heights and Midtown, Montrose, and further west, the development of East Downtown occurred later. So you've got some opportunity here to find something that's less expensive than in the established neighborhoods. The variance in price between East Downtown and areas like the Heights or Midtown used to be way more significant, with new construction on this side of town around the $300,000 mark. But now in 2025, we're closer to $400 to $500K for standard new construction homes in the area, but there are less expensive ones as well. Of course, there are also some cons to living in EaDo as well. So some of them would be the development. It's still under development, so there are some areas that are a little bit rough around the edges. Depending on where you live, you may be living next door to a warehouse. This is happening less and less as more businesses and homes are popping up, but there are still warehouses with industrial and commercial businesses here in EaDo, as well as abandoned warehouses. In addition to that, there are some empty lots as well. So when we talk about development, it's also important to point out the highway project with the 45 highway being developed over the next few years, which is going to bring a lot of traffic and construction to EaDo. Many businesses are also already shutting down in anticipation of this project. Number two of the cons is the lack of amenities. While there is a ton to do if you're a fan of eating and drinking and going out, there's not a grocery store in EaDo proper. Luckily, the CVS opened in 2022, which is a great amenity if you need like something quick or to go grab a snack or something like that. But the closest grocery stores are the Kroger off of Polk and Cullen, and then the H-E-B off of 288 and McGregor and Phoenicia downtown. I always just do H-E-B delivery to avoid having to go to a grocery store no matter where I live. But if you need to go pick up, a cup of sugar or something, you have to drive a few minutes to get there. Many people also thought that a grocery store would move into the Post building, but all we got was a CVS. Number three is the lack of parking. If you're driving into EaDo on the weekends, parking can be a challenge if you're going out. It's also a pain during events at the Shell Stadium where the Dynamo and Dash play, or during Astros games, as you have many people that are going to go to the bars and to the restaurants before a game or an event and leave their car in EaDo and then walk to the stadium. So if you live here, you can obviously easily join them and walk to different places. But if you're out driving or you're trying to get to your house during these games or events, additional traffic can get a little annoying. Which brings me to my fourth point is traffic. So EaDo is located in a very busy area, so traffic can be heavy at times. It's definitely worse during rush hour or when there's a game or event in the area, but living close to so many major highways can make traffic frustrating. When you're coming southbound down 59 from north of downtown, the traffic around downtown gets a little heavy, especially during rush hour. And I know it's generally common sense, but since there are a lot of highway interchanges or areas that are merging from one to another, you sometimes have more traffic because people generally can't merge to save their lives. If you're considering buying an EaDo, my final thing that I'd caution you about is the quality of construction. As I said before, there are two types of homes you're going to see in the area: older bungalow style homes, and then the 2, 3, and 4-story townhome style homes. And many of the older homes have been updated and renovated. And while there are many great renovations out there, there are also crappy ones too. I've toured a lot of homes in the area, and some have very cheap finishes and seem to have cut some corners on their updates. So if you're buying a renovated home, I would recommend doing inspections, especially on the major systems like the plumbing, the electrical, HVAC, the roof, the foundation, things like that, if they weren't all updated by whoever flipped or updated the house. For townhome style homes, the same thing applies. Do your inspections. There are a ton of good builders out there, but there are also bad builders. You're buying a home, even if it's new construction, I recommend doing an inspection, and also any additional inspections like a stucco inspection or roof inspection, especially if there's a rooftop patio. And all in all, EaDo is still one of my very favorite neighborhoods in Houston because of its proximity to all of the things. If you've got questions about East Downtown or living in Houston, shoot me a message today and we'd be happy to help. We'll talk to you soon.